Naked pictures. Let's talk naked pictures. Stolen naked pictures. Question, who's more embarrassed, J-Law or Apple? Answer, Jennifer Lawrence. Obviously, she's a person. Apple is a corporation. Corporations are not people, my friends. Nobody online is looking at Apple's nipples. Still, because 100 or more celebrities have had private photos posted publicly, Apple is on the defensive. Who has more at stake in this debacle? J-Law or Apple? Maybe it's Apple. And they announced today they'll have new policies to alert people to any attempts to hack their accounts and steal their backups. Not clear that an alert will prevent the theft, but we'll see how that unfolds. Horrible timing, isn't it? Unless you're an Apple hater, in which case, yeah! Next Tuesday, a huge spotlight will turn to the company I used to work for and the new products that rumor mills have been chattering about non-stop for months. Want to talk naked? Here is a nude picture for you. They say Apple does not want my wrist to be nude anymore. I don't know exactly what Apple wants me to wear on this naked wrist, but now I have two questions. Will I want to wear it? Can I trust it? The answer is, I don't know if I want it, but yes, I think I can trust it. The question is really, can you trust yourself? And I'll get into that. Clearly, this is not the week Apple would have chosen to have people questioning their automated online backup service, iCloud, and how easy it is to break into it and steal people's personal stuff. Not when they're about to announce new features and services that will make iCloud even more useful, even more personal. Not when they're about to launch services that will record and store intimate health details, although I know those are not nearly as titillating as nudes, but they are as personal, maybe more so. Not when they're about to launch, say other rumors, a way to pay for things just by waving your iPhone or your wrist thingy. So, of course, Apple was quick to announce that their security is intact. They were not hacked. What? But those nudes got out somehow. I think it's important to understand how they got out, even if you never take nude selfies on your own or for your lover's amusement. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's roll back the time to the beginning of last weekend, before the nudes got out, before we entered what this quipster on Reddit called the fappening. Turns out the nude photos were already online even then, but they were in darker, deeper parts of the net where they were held for ransom. It was pay to peek, a lucrative and very shady business. Before the weekend, the nudes were online, but the nudes were not news. Not at the start of the weekend. Last weekend. Last weekend was, in the United States, the Labor Day weekend, a 3-day weekend that marks the end of summer. Not astronomically, of course, that won't happen until... Right, thank you, that's my local time. But psychically, summer is over. This is now fall product season, officially. Right, Apple? Last weekend was our last shot for picnics, barbecues, boating, one last chance to go camping and hiking. Locally, in the Seattle area, Labor Day weekend is marked by two huge events. PAX, Penny Arcade Expo, a mega gamer event, a conspicuous confluence of cosplay. A couple of miles away from that, Bumbershoot on the site of the old Seattle World's Fair, a 3-day music and arts festival that ranges from rock to blues to comedy to poetry to film to theater, graphics. So whether you're out hiking alone or dancing with a crowd, Labor Day weekend is a great time to go out. What does any of this have to do with internet nudes? Well, it's the three axes of our pop culture universe: arts, gaming, and porn. Despite all the reasons to go out over Labor Day weekend, lots of folks stayed in. Some folks just live online. For them, the Sunday of Labor Day weekend wasn't a holiday, just another opportunity to do what they always do, look at naked pictures on the internet. Except this time, they got to see naked pictures of A-list celebrities without the consent of those pictured. Well, the photos per se were not pornographic, but the internet reacted to them as though they were. The fappening? By definition, if you're fapping to it, it's porn. Unless, of course, fap was meant ironically, in which case I mean porn, ironically. More on that coming up. Now, if you were online at all on Sunday, August 31st, even if you were not looking at or for naked pictures, it was very hard to avoid knowing that the nudes had leaked. Let me say straight off, leak is not an appropriate word. It's not as though a bucket developed a little hole and the contents dribbled out. This was breaking and entering. It was smash and grab. It was a well-planned heist and deliberate theft, and we now know it had been going on for weeks, maybe months. We know it was conducted by teams of people who specialize in various aspects of getting access to private data. But until the weekend, it was all confined to the darker, seedier corners of the net that specialized in celebrity nudes and revenge porn, areas where the perpetrators were charging money to let people have a glimpse at famous breasts. But by Sunday, some folks who had bought those images posted them more openly on more easily accessible websites because information wants to be free. Sunday, the promise of movie star breasts proved to be even more tempting than a BuzzFeed headline. These 12 A-list movie stars will never again trust iCloud. I uploaded nude photos from 100 celebrities, and you will never guess what happened next. Troubling, we don't know exactly how these photos got out, but we sort of know. Nik Cubrilovic, who writes for TechCrunch, has posted the most detailed information I've seen on how the thefts were carried out. I will link to his post in the description, and I'll say more about it in a bit. You might say, as some have said, well, just don't take naked pictures and this won't happen. But A, that verges on victim blaming. B, some people will always take naked pictures. C, what's wrong with taking naked pictures? Well, of course, that depends on the meaning of taking, doesn't it? I mean, it's a matter of consent. Take a picture in the sense of make a photograph of yourself or a consenting model, fine. Take a picture in the sense of steal a photograph from a private collection without consent of the photographer or the model, you are crossing into the territory of abuse. Molly Lambert put it very well in her piece on the topic, link below. Said, Molly, nothing about the images themselves is degrading to their subjects, just that they were stolen and illegally distributed. And if the ripping away of consent is a major part of the thrill, well, that I just can't identify with because it makes me feel sick. But from Apple's perspective, if you limit this to a question of nudes, you're missing the larger point, the larger jeopardy to the brand. What about their security issues? This was private content. I hope Anthony D'Angelo didn't hear me say that. Private content that was stolen and posted online by vandals. It could just as well be your bank records, your credit card number, your health records, conversations with friends that you meant to be private. Here's what's really worrisome for Apple. These probably weren't even photos that their owners thought of as being online. When we think online, we usually think public forums. Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, YouTube, Reddit, Flickr, Instagram, Vine, etc. Too many to list, really. But the same infrastructure, the same technology that's used for sharing and posting data publicly is also used, with some additional protocols involving passwords and encryption, for private storage lockers such as Dropbox, SugarSync, Google Drive, OneDrive, Apple's iCloud. Underneath, it's all the same technology. The plumbing is the same, but our mental model is different. What Apple offers, and Microsoft, Google, as well as many others offer, is automatic backup of the photos you take, the documents you create, your contacts, your notes, your calendar. It's incredibly convenient. It's almost mindless. I take a photo with my phone, boom, it's on my computer. No effort. I bookmark a website on my computer, boom, it's on my phone. No effort. As a user, I don't think of that as putting my stuff online. It's just a cool bit of tech magic that makes my life simpler. I'm just sending it from me to me. Of course, it is online. Online, but it should be out of bounds. It's supposed to be out of bounds to anyone but me. Now, Apple says there was no breach in its security. Okay, no breach. But the photos were stolen, we know that. So how did that happen? Well, as I said, we don't know precisely, but we kind of know. This is another plug for Nik Cubrilovic and his post. He'll walk you through it. But basically, all you have to do to see my private stuff is to convince the servers that you're me. You just need my password. And how do you get my password? Well, you might try to guess it. If you can't guess it, maybe you can convince Apple to reset it. Just tell them you're me and that you lost your password. And that's where the whole system gets very vulnerable. Let's parse what Apple had to say about this, and I'll read their official statement and translate it and comment. We wanted to provide an update to our investigation into the theft of photos of certain celebrities. Well, that's good. They're on the case. They're letting us know what they found. Good. When we learned about the theft, we were outraged. Yeah, I'll bet they were. Now, maybe their heart's in the right place, but they have very self-serving reasons to be outraged. And immediately mobilized Apple's engineers to discover the source. We have our best people on it. Our customers' privacy and security are of utmost importance to us. Translation, our customers' money is of utmost importance to us, and if they don't trust us anymore, they're not going to send us any more. After more than 40 hours of investigation. Is that a lot? Is that 40 person hours? We have discovered. Yes, here comes the meat. That certain celebrity accounts were compromised. Well, gosh. I discovered that in about 5 seconds on Twitter. Took Apple 40 hours? Notice how they're minimizing it. Apple systems weren't hacked. It was just certain celebrity accounts. Translation, don't worry about this if you're not a celebrity. Deeper translation, come on, Mickeleh, nobody's going to pay to see you naked. Well, maybe not. But I have a friend, a very tech-savvy friend, who's had his private accounts hacked. And it wasn't to see him naked. By a very targeted attack on usernames, passwords, and security questions. Now there's the heart of it. Here's where I need to stop joking and start paying attention. A practice that has become all too common on the internet. This is the important stuff. Okay, so what is this practice? Well, there are a couple of practices. One is called brute force, which means guessing at passwords again and again and again with the aid of software. Theoretically, this shouldn't be possible. The system should lock you out after a few tries. But the other is called social engineering, which is just a fancy word for tricking people, hoodwinking them, conning them, tricking them into giving up information so they can trick Apple into resetting your password. Now, if you use the same password everywhere, look out. If you use the same account name everywhere, look out. Social engineering has gotten very sophisticated over the years. It started with phishing, phony emails that pretend to be from some trusted source that want you to disclose your sign-on information. I think people are wise to phishing now. It's not that hard to scour Facebook and Google to find the information that's likely to be a proper answer to a test question. I mean, the standard questions: mother's maiden name, city you were born in, easily found. Name of your first pet, how would they know that? Did you ever play the game of finding your porn star name? Name of your first pet, street you grew up on? Boom, they got you. Once they have enough information about you to pose as you, they can often persuade a hapless customer service rep to help you out by resetting your password. I'm going to link you to an article by Matt Honan of Wired. A couple of years back, goes into depth about the horror stories of how his accounts were hacked. Some of those pathways have been blocked now, but the game is similar. So how do you protect yourself? Well, there are 4 things. 1, strong passwords. Password is not a strong password. Even if you spell it with a 4 and a 0. Here's a strong password. Here's another. Don't use the same username and password on every site. 3, turn on 2-factor authentication. What is that? It means your regular password isn't enough. You need something else. My sister used to be a stockbroker. They gave her a special beeper. When she wanted to log on from outside the office, she would enter her password in her computer, and then they would send a temporary second password to the beeper. She had to enter that too. Today, anyone can use 2-factor authentication. You use your mobile phone. Enter your password online, then the second password is sent to you as a text message. That second password will be different every time. 4, lie about the test questions. Don't give them your actual mother's maiden name. Pick a friend, pick a president, pick anything they can't look up. People don't do these obvious things because it's a little more work. Passwords that are hard to guess are hard to remember. Having multiple passwords is even harder to remember. And if you lie, you have to keep track of your lies. Fortunately for us, there is software applications that can generate and track strong passwords for you. Tim Cook, Apple CEO, said this: "When I step back from this terrible scenario that happened and say, what more could we have done? I think about the awareness piece. I think we have a responsibility to ratchet that up. That's not really an engineering thing." So yes, you can trust Apple's security, provided you follow their recommendations. In the immortal words of Anne Robinson, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. Until next time, I'm Mickeleh. DVD extras. So what makes a strong password? If you haven't seen it yet, take a look at this now very famous, now even more famous comic by XKCD. It explains a good strategy for strong passwords that involve 4 random common words. Link in the description. Is XKCD right about that? Well, see the discussion on Reddit. Link in the description. The important point about strong passwords is that whether you're using phrases or characters, they need to be chosen randomly to make them hard to guess. If you're a regular viewer, you know I love movies. This is me talking with Nifsi in his wonderful series, Movie Deal. I love that series so much, and I'm thrilled he asked me to be on it. Here is my list of reviews of movies about movies. By the way, there are some new ones coming out next week, along with a new review of the new Doctor Who. Bye now.